Hello, hello, how are we? Good, are we in our post-lunch haze, or can we get through about another hour and a half of programming, and then we'll get on to cocktails? Hey everybody, I'm Tim Sovay, Chief Partnerships Officer at CreatorIQ, and honored to be here with Netta. If you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi everybody. So good to be here. I'm Netta. I joined Meta at the top of the year. I'm still getting used to being Netta from Meta. It's part cringe, part maybe it was meant to be, I don't know. And I'm leading the brand and integrated marketing team for creators across our family of apps. So that includes Instagram, Facebook, and most recently Threads.
So Netta, you are a few months in, but before we get it, we're going to talk about Meta and Reels and Instagram for the next 23 minutes and 46 seconds. But prior to that, let's get a little bit into your background. So prior to joining Meta, you were 12 years at YouTube in a variety of roles. Do you want to give everyone your background, what you did at YouTube, and kind of what got you here?
Sure. So I started my professional path at Procter & Gamble, big CPG. I worked in their Brussels office. At the time, maybe it still is, it was their EMEA headquarters. In hindsight, it was the best school of marketing. Like, what a way to kick off a marketing career. I feel very grateful. I loved P&G. I will have to admit, life in Brussels was just not made for me. It didn't help that I didn't speak Flemish or French, so at some point I made a decision to go back to where I'm from, which is Tel Aviv, and I joined the Google office in Tel Aviv to lead consumer marketing. So I spent a couple of years running marketing. At the time, I'm going to age myself now, it was marketing for some mature products like Google Maps and YouTube, but also some upcoming products like Google+. I don't know if anyone here remembers Google+, Google's attempt to build a social network at the time. It was a great learning experience. I think I learned that this is when you really need a crisp value prop when you go to market with a product. So did that for a few years, and then my now husband got a job offer in New York, so we found our way to the US, where I joined the Google New York office. Specifically, I joined the YouTube B2B marketing team. So I was marketing to people like yourselves, brands and agencies were my target audience. And whenever YouTube had a new advertising solution, we took it to market. And it was interesting because those were the days when brand safety became a real concern. So I think now brand safety is a term that we're all familiar with. 10 years ago or so, it was a new phenomena. Brands started becoming worried about where their ads are showing up and what it means for their association with their brands. And that's when we realized we can't just invest in product marketing or in sales. We need to invest in brand marketing for advertisers. So I ended up building the brand marketing team for YouTube B2B. And after about 5 years on that team, when we got to a stable phase, YouTube CMO asked me to go and do the same for the creator side of the house. So we can double click into that. That's the topic du jour, but just to round up my career journey, after doing that for a little while, the same CMO asked me to go and do the same on the YouTube TV side of the house, which is a very different side of the business. I don't know if you're familiar with YouTube TV. It's very popular in the US mostly. It's their streaming service, and in the US they have a ton of licensing rights with the NFL and the NBA, so it was heavy on sports marketing and subscription marketing. So I learned a ton, but when the call from Meta came a few months ago to go back to the creator space, you had to see me, my eyes just lit up, because you know what it's like. Once you work with creators, it's kind of like one scene, it cannot be unseen. You just want to keep doing it. So I was thrilled when the call came, and fast forward to today, here I am.
Nice.
Yeah. But what about you? Do you want to talk about your career journey?
Sure. I'm also going to really age myself, but I always joke that I'm a retired marketer. I worked for the Walt Disney Studios and Summit Entertainment in feature film marketing way back when, and a good Facebook, not Meta, because that would happen 20 years later, a good Facebook story that I have is I actually ran the very first entertainment campaign or program on Facebook when it was a .edu only, college only social platform. So that's really aging me. It was for the instant classic, The Guardian, with Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher. I'm sure everyone in this room has seen that movie, but it was a really big deal back then, right? And I had a lot of those fun kind of digital and social firsts when you get to experiment on all these new and upcoming platforms like Friendster and MySpace and Facebook way back when. Again, just classic social networks. And then fast forward, I've been in the creator space now for about 13 or 14 years, agency side, brand side, and now at CreatorIQ for the last 8. So super fun journey, and I've definitely dedicated my career to this space. But I want to jump back in. So a bunch of interesting roles. Again, as you said, it's all about creators today, though. So what got you excited about getting into the creator space, working for that creator team? What was that first leap?
Sure. So at the time, I'll be honest, it was mostly for personal reasons that I went into it. So when my CMO asked me to move from B2B to the creator side of the house, I was going through some difficult times with my family. My dad had just passed away after battling with Alzheimer's for a few years. And when my CMO asked me about this job, I always, when I think about taking on a new role or a new job, I force myself to think about what is the one thing that I'm optimizing for. I kind of see it like apartment hunting, right? You always need to know what are your non-negotiables and what you can compromise on. So you can live with a small kitchen as long as the living room is big enough or what have you. So for me, it's the same when I consider different roles. And in some phases of my career, I optimized for learning or growing new skills. In other phases, it was around financial stability or job security. At that point in my life, I was looking for joy. That's what I needed. And what better way than to work with content creators, right? Whether it's the 17-year-old teenagers who pull pranks or the 70-year-old nanas who show you how to make pastas, or at the time I remember watching a ton of Buddhism content and creators teaching me about Buddhist principles. So I owe them a lot. I really owe creators a lot for pulling me out of some darkness. And as I said, once I was in the creator space, I was hooked. I think it's a niche that is just going to continue growing, and I hope to always be part of it.
So when you look at kind of the history, and I promise we won't go too far down memory lane, but YouTube's been around now since I think, 2008 or so. Creators have been at the core. You kind of think of YouTube as the OG of the creator space. What were some of the learnings that you are bringing over to Meta?
Yeah, YouTube really was the OG, and when you think about the YouTube business model, creators are the heart of the YouTube ecosystem, right? Without creators, the YouTube business model crumbles when you think about the rev share, et cetera. When I think about what I want to bring to Meta, I want to bring that sense of responsibility to do right by creators. I think that over the years, I got to see creators grow from, filming in their bedrooms to deciding to make that leap and quit their jobs as baristas to make this full time, or move out of their parents' house, or for different creators, the milestones look differently. Some are starting to move into offices and hiring employees. So I think these journeys are really representative of where the creator economy is today, and I want to lead a team that does right by them and that helps them, because creators don't have the luxury of having a well-defined industry. Like, think of all of us, right? Let's say we're all marketers. We all, at least at some point, had a boss that gave us some guidance or some North Stars. We have an industry, we have big companies that have charted the path and wrote playbooks about what good marketing looks like. We have industry bodies that show us right from wrong. Creators have none of that. Now, thankfully, we're starting to see companies who are helping them. CreatorIQ, I think, is one of the companies that are really leading the way and helping bring data and objectivity to how to make the right decisions. But it's still really hard to be a creator today. There's such a big gap between the perception of being a creator and the actual experience. It is a grind. So I want to be part of the crew that helps give them guidance on how to get it right.
So we're going to jump into that right now. I think what's hopefully not lost on this crowd is that Instagram really is the giant of creator marketing today. We actually pulled data, and Instagram was included in 90% of the 22,000 campaigns that were run on CreatorIQ last year. That's twice the percentage of the next largest platform. So essentially, every single campaign includes Instagram, which is a pretty good place to be. The top is always good. But you've talked about how important it is for the kind of maturation for creators and all the work that Meta is doing, right? But what are your teams focused on today in the space, specifically at Meta?
Yeah, so my team, we're a marketing team, and as I mentioned, we oversee marketing to creators across the apps, and our North Star, I'll continue that golden thread of helping creators, is to help them understand how to succeed on our different platforms, no matter what their ambition is. Whether it's to make a name for themselves, whether it's to grow a following, a niche following, a big following, to sell products, we want to help them tap into all of our creative surfaces and possibilities so they can make it their way. That's our goal. And that includes things like efforts into educational programs and educational content. We have part of the team here that is working really hard on making sure creators have access to all the guidance they need to succeed. We're investing in lifecycle marketing. So when creators upload from their first upload across every format, we want to make sure they get helpful comms from us along the way. We're investing in campaigns. So I would say helpfulness is a good North Star to think of when it comes to our marketing across all the apps.
So things are moving really, really quickly in this space. I think if you're in this room, like you're feeling all of the change that is happening. What is a trend or an area that you are excited about right now?
Well, I'm excited about everyone waking up to the fact that the creator economy is a thing. If you're in this room, I think you're part of our, you've been in it for a while as well, so you also see it. But I remember when COVID just hit a few years ago, we started seeing all these news articles popping up about how, you're stuck at home, but you can still be a creator and make money from the internet. And we were all like, welcome to the party. Yes, you can. So it's great, fast forward to today to see how this industry is professionalizing. And you see these creators who are growing up and really becoming media brands in their own right? They're all like running newsletters and having brand partnerships and having their own merchandise and products. So I'm excited about the creator economy professionalizing. What are you seeing? Do you have any kind of creator economy trends that you're excited about?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think an important word that you used was professionalization, right? So having been in the space since about 2010, 2011, I always joke that the first decade was future selling, the opportunity that was here. Like we all inherently believed it, but you couldn't really measure it. You just kind of knew it was working. You were predominantly on YouTube. Views were your main metric that you were measuring. It just kind of lived in a silo, right? And I think partially due to the pandemic, and partially just due to the kind of maturation of tools, whether it be from the platforms, whether it be companies like CreatorIQ, whether it be the APIs that we work on together, like you can truly measure full funnel now, right? So insights have caught up, paid media has caught up, things like affiliate and commerce, you can measure all sorts of the funnel. And so I think now over the past couple of years, Connor mentioned this earlier, right? Like brands are now working with tens of thousands. We see some creators or some brands working with hundreds of thousands of creators. So that scale, I think, is what's really changed, and that only happens with kind of the maturation of everything around it.
Totally.
Cool. All right. So, kind of jumping back into brands and advertisers in this space, from a platform perspective, how do you view brand's role or brand's role in the creator economy?
Yeah, I think that there are few times in our lives when we get to see inflection points in industries, and I think the creator economy is in such point. We're obviously also seeing it with AI is in such inflection point. We saw it a few years ago with mobile when it changed everything for us. So the creator economy is an industry, is in a similar point, and I think it's on all of us, brands, marketers, to make sure that we shape this industry and we do right by our businesses and by our creators. So when I think about the role that brands play when they collaborate with creators, it's all about being part of culture when you do that, right? So I invite brands to not be one and done with creators. When you find the right creators that are aligned to your brand values, that are helping you meet your campaign goals, don't just launch and leave. Nurture these relationships, build the trust to bring the best out of the creators that you work with. And I would say even more than that, don't just treat them as distributors of your content. You will find that most creators are really generous with their insights and their time. Work with them as thought partners. I really try hard for every activation or campaign that my team is putting together to bring creators and make them involved from day one. A lot of them are very savvy, they are very business savvy, they know their audience better than anyone else. So think of them from day one all the way soup to nuts to the end of your journey where they distribute your content and really play the roles of influencer, but not just that.
So kind of getting to the heart of that, we actually ran a survey recently across all of our customers, and thank you to the 600 brands and agencies that, unique brands and agencies that responded to it. Really discovering, finding the right creators was still the #1 pain point that we hear from our customers, right? And we talk about all these advancements in these other areas, whether it be paid or measurement, but still at the heart of what we do is finding the right partners that have the same mission, that have the same ethos, that want to work together. Again, as the audience looks to continue to scale on Instagram, what's your advice for whether it be AI or the marketplace, the strongest ways to find and partner with creators on IG today?
Yeah, let's get a little bit more practical. So on Instagram, we launched the Creator Marketplace. I think we launched in the UK in February earlier this year, and we're excited to bring it to more markets later in the year. And that is really the tool that we use machine learning for to help with that matching, right? To help advertisers find the right creators and vice versa. We've also partnered with CreatorIQ to optimize the matching process. Do you want to maybe touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, shameless product plug. But so as part of our partnership, we have an extension via an API to be able to flag every creator that's in the marketplace. We'll talk about priority DMs, be able to reach out to them. But it's really important for us because in a way, those are validated creators by Instagram. You have the checks and balances on your side, more data than anyone, to say these creators are, brand safe to an extent that you can look at historical. So we do allow that extension into our platform, but you're expanding markets and also doing some pretty cool new things with the marketplace.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's one that I'm really excited about, and it's also good to hear your insight from the survey that it's still a pain point because I think there's more we can do there. But as it scales, I think it can really help a lot of brands do that at even larger scale.
So you find the right creators. What next? I've talked a lot about paid media. Partnership ads is a big expansion for you. But kind of what are you seeing post connection on the platform?
Sure. So I think once you have a deal in place or you find your creators in the mix can help you throughout the funnel. So it depends on what your goals are as a brand in a given moment in time. Sometimes it's purely about getting your brand in front of the audience of said creator and think about top funnel kind of efforts. Sometimes it's about moving people down the funnel, and that's where partnerships ads can really be helpful. Partnerships ads is when you decide to promote your collaboration with your creator, and we actually see incredible data. So when brands are using partnership ads, they see a 53% higher CTR versus just running normal ads. So think about it, like that's a pretty staggering number. You're better off adding a creator to the mix with partnership ads versus just regular ads. And when you think about bottom funnel, like bottom funnel sales, we saw recently that I think it was over 70% of consumers made a purchase after seeing creator content. So we looked at, within a few days of someone watching a content that had creators in it, 70% of consumers made the purchase after watching that content. So creators in the mix can add to any part of the funnel. It just depends on the goal, and those can change depending on what campaigns you all are running.
So switching topics to the fastest growing content type, and that's short form video. All right, we saw an over 100% increase in short form video last year, whether that be Reels, TikTok, Shorts, just across the board. Every platform, short form is scaling. I'm sure we're all seeing that quite a bit in this room. What is your recommendation for brands who, It is a higher touch. It is more work. There's a lot of benefit that comes out of it. But what is your advice for brands who are looking to scale Reels on IG?
Yeah, so I can tell you what I've learned from how creators are using it when it comes to content strategies. So you use different surfaces usually for different purposes, and unfortunately there's no one blanket statement. Different audiences have different needs, so it depends on the brand. But when I look at how creators are using these different formats, they usually use stories for a little bit of a warmer introduction, more scrappy, casual kind of content, behind the scenes stuff. They use the feed, whether it's carousel or photos or what have you, for things that really they feel like represent them, because obviously they have a longer shelf life. They stay on the page or the handle for longer, and they use something like Reels when they have a little bit more investment behind it, because they usually use it when they have a message or a story arc they want to deliver. It's also great for them for unconnected reach, because Reels aren't limited to just their follower base. So my advice to brands who are thinking about content strategies is have a very clear learning agenda in mind, so you have an experimental kind of drumbeat that helps you understand what should you use each surface for. I can tell you that at Meta, we don't launch a campaign in market if we don't have a learning agenda, period. And it's always about studying at least one new surface or one new aspect of the campaign that we haven't quite cracked yet.
That's putting your marketing hat on. So you've seen a lot of creator and brand collabs over the years, whether it be YouTube for many years and now Meta for at least a few months. What can brands and creators learn from each other?
Oh my goodness, so much. I mean, there are so many parallels, and I think the lines are getting even blurrier by the day. I guess the one thing I'll mention is the usage of insights. I think the savviest creators are really good at using insights and analytics to understand what their audience wants to watch and how to think about their path forward. I got to work with Mr. Beast, with Jimmy, for a little while for a campaign that we did, and he has a thing that he coined it as his first 1,000 videos. So I encourage you all to scroll down and look at his first 1,000 videos, because he was saying, I didn't just go overnight from producing Minecraft videos to making a huge hit like, giant Squid Game video making millions. It was a rigorous 3 to 4 year process of producing 1,000 videos, and every time he posted a video, he only changed one parameter, one thing. Sometimes it's the thumbnail, sometimes it's the title or the length, you name it. But he was very meticulous about it. And I think that kind of learning mindset and knowing how to use your insights well is something that both brands and creators share and can just keep learning from each other the more we do it.
I mean, that's some really strong rigor to be able to do that for 1,000 videos. It's no wonder he's the largest creator in the world. By the way, these 25-minute sessions go by so quick. We unfortunately are wrapping up. Any parting thoughts before we go? Maybe a little bit of a tease on what's going on with Threads, Meta's newest platform?
Yeah, we didn't get to touch on it, but I'm really excited about Threads. It still feels like the underdog, but the numbers, we have over 150 million monthly users now, which is mind-blowing. And we're starting to see creators finding their voice on the platform. It's really interesting to see the more positive tone that we see there, and I hope that we can keep nurturing that. We see some organic communities growing, whether it's book threads for book clubs or basketball is a thing on Threads. Lots of communities of women supporting women. I hope we can use our marketing to keep setting this tone early and build a platform that's a little bit, that is kind, that is civil. So I'm excited to see where we land there.
Well, cool. Netta, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you all for attending.
Thank you.